Hey everybody, it's Sunday afternoon around 1 o'clock and I'm heading up into the mountains above the Inca site of Sacsayhuaman. The Plaza de Armas is jammed full of people for one of the biggest parades of the year. Tried to go down there, but you just can't see anything. There's too many people. Hola perito. Hey cutie. ¿Cómo estás? Hi guys. Hi there, how are you guys? It's been quite a while since I've been up here, and the path has definitely changed. The old road is actually fenced off, so it may keep me from going where I want to go. This is likely an Inca trail. Whew. It is steep and rough and not fun, especially after as much as I've climbed. And at nearly 12,000 feet in altitude, it's easy to get out of breath quickly. You can see the Almudena and Tica Tica neighborhoods far off in the distance. There's Sacsayhuaman and people doing what they do on Sunday afternoons, playing football. It's been a while since I've been up here. I'm curious to see how much it's changed, if at all. Obviously the fence on my left is the biggest change. I don't know why they blocked that off. I don't think any of this is private property. It's all part of the Sacsayhuaman Park. Over here to the right is at least one of the quarries where the Incas mined the limestone that they used to build Sacsayhuaman. Here's a big limestone block that just got left behind. These are what are known as tired stones. They're stones that, for whatever reason, were just abandoned on the way down from the quarries to the main site. To be in great shape, but it looks like hardly anyone comes here anymore. I would guess that it's only locals. As to why, I have no idea. Maybe I'll find out in just a little while, because the site I want to visit is on the other side of the fence. When you get outside of Cusco, you can still find lots and lots and lots of buildings that are just the same as they were centuries ago. Wood, stone, and adobe. All right, the fence ended here. As long as there's nothing else in the way, I'll be able to visit the site that I want to find today and get to show you some place that hardly anyone, if anyone, outside of a handful of locals even knows about. The trail has definitely improved now. Makes a big difference, a lot easier to walk. Still got a pretty big climb. I don't know if you can see the hill up on the left, but that's where I plan to end up, at least on this first part of the day's hike. There's still remnants of Inca walls that line this particular road. On both sides you can see significant evidence of a wall, or walls I should say. The problem with this trail is that the loose rock makes it a little bit more difficult to climb up, and I guess to come back down. The rocks slide on you. Not enough to make you fall, but it still makes you go slow. Far, far down the mountainside is the Inca site of Sacsayhuaman. It's just one of those places that you have to visit when you come to Cusco. There's nothing that comes like it maybe in the entire world. It is just, it's breathtaking, spellbinding, and indescribable. You just have to see it for yourself. Okay, I made it up. Well, almost there. This is a trail that breaks off to the left and takes me up to the top of the hill. Let's go follow this, and I'm going to show you some really cool stuff up there. At one time there was something up here, but I could only guess at this point what it was. It's where I started, far, far down at the bottom of the valley. It was a long climb up here. Took maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours to get up, but it was worth just for the view. These stones were placed here maybe as much as 600 years ago. I don't know how well you can see it, but there's just the top remains of what was once a wall that curves around the top of this hill. Alright, I'm frustrated because these trees weren't here several years ago. Underneath them, maybe I can find them, maybe not. I'm going to go this way. This hilltop was surrounded by concentric rings of limestone. There's not much left, but I did find at least one well-preserved ring. As to how big it was originally, I have no idea. What its purpose was, I have no idea. But this hilltop was surrounded by these rings. There were at least 3 or 4 that I could find when I came up here before. There likely was another one here that has eroded in recent years. Few remaining stones are still here. Here's another tiny bit of wall. Not much left. These things were so easily visible just a few years ago. It's sad that they've gone now. This is probably the reason why people took them to build stoves and ovens to cook up here in the mountains. Traditional kinds of cooking. I bet most of these stones came from these walls. In fact, here's evidence of what I was just talking about. You can see where there was a wall here, and people literally ripped the stones out of the dirt. Here's actually a pretty significant section that still exists up here. Hope you can see it good enough. It's curving around the hillside till it gets to where this trail is, and then it stops. I'm sure it continued on. I talked with the lady gathering wood, and we both agreed. People take the stones and they have no value for what these things really are. They've been here for at least 600 years, and they're just destroyed so people can cook on a Sunday afternoon. Let's see if I can find some more walls on the east side of the hill. Here's one right here. It's only about 2 meters long, but it's still here. Well, I'm sorry this didn't turn out as interesting as I thought it would. I could probably go on down the Inca Road quite a bit farther, but I'm going to make my way back down the hill. Kind of hungry, to be honest. It's 1:30 in the afternoon, almost 2 actually. People are gathering firewood for cooking. Okay, I'm going to make my way back down the mountainside. I'm basically aiming towards Sacsayhuaman again. It is so much easier going this direction. Can't tell you enough. I think I'm going to take the trail that broke off at the end of the fence up here and see where it goes. It looks extremely well used, so I would imagine that it will take me back to Sacsayhuaman, maybe even a little bit quicker. These horses up here used to give tourist rides up and down and all through the mountains. It's kind of cool, but if you're used to riding horses, they're so tame, they're going to go where they want. I'm not a cowboy, but being from Texas, I have ridden horses before, and I do have a fair idea what I'm doing. The ones up here really don't respond too well. They're used to being as safe and tame as possible with tourists on their back. Okay, do I take this trail or go back the way I came? Since I've never been here before, I guess there's really only one choice. If I'm going the right way, but I do know I'm off the rocky road, so I'm not going to slide on the grass here. I can see remnants of Inca buildings along the side. And here, as I come around this corner, there's a wall. This is interesting. I'm going to bet that this is an original wall. This is an Inca wall. Let's go up here and see what we got back here. That's the break in the wall that I just passed through. This is interesting. Did find something I've never seen before after all. This was quite possibly a checkpoint. What is now a pile of rubble might have been a small room where guards stood for people coming back and forth. I see lots of remains of walls surrounding this little flat area. I'm going to bet that this was some kind of decently sized room. Wow. This wall is in great shape. It's about 1.5 meters tall, maybe a little more. Fantastic shape. Bet it continues. Yep, continues around this side. Undoubtedly to provide support for the building up above. Amazing. You can even see a water channel that comes down through the middle of that. This is where I started, where I entered that room. You can see walls on this side as well. I see fairly regularly on social media so-called experts saying that Incas didn't use mortar between their stones. Well, if they had any kind of clue, instead of making up garbage, they know that most Inca buildings use mortar between the stones. It's only the really extremely important ceremonial places and the most important buildings, like the ones that filled up central Cusco, are the ones where mortar was not used. And that was for a purpose. Normally they use mortar for everything. It's the remains of more walls as I make my way down the mountainside. I don't know how hard it's going to be to get out of this particular area. I don't worry too much. Probably not much to be concerned about on a Sunday afternoon. Probably, especially based on the stuff I'm seeing along the trail, this is just an area used to corral their horses for tourists. Hopefully I'll be able to get out easily. It's not the kind of fence that you climb over or through, but I know there's a road up the hill across a little valley to my right. Since this trail is so well used, I bet it's going to take me out of here. Okay, I'm not far from the bottom, and I probably shouldn't do this, but I'm really curious to see, since there must be a stream running down here, if it's lined with stone. Basically every stream, including the smallest ones, is lined with stones from the Inca times. Can you see the little section of wall that I just hopped down? The trail's not as good, but it's getting me close. With any luck, I'll be down and out of this little area in just a couple more minutes. I see the paved street just up above. I see Sacsayhuaman parking for tourists just below. Now my question is, can I get out? There's a fence up here. Oh, I do see a gate. All right. Check out this paving. I'd bet just about anything, because this is so rarely used, that this is Inca paving. Hey, made it back out to civilization. Here comes the tourist scenic bus. I'm gonna get on the other side. It's gotta be cold up there in the shade and the wind blowing. Sunday afternoon in Cusco. Volleyball, football, and time with the family. You should see this spot in the windy season. Oh my goodness, it is just full of kids flying kites. It's one of the prettiest places you'll ever see in Cusco. One of the advantages of living here is instead of paying about 70 soles or 20 US dollars, I just show my ID and pass through on my way home. If I want to go up into the side, I can. Okay, making my way back down the mountainside to Cusco. You have to be very careful going down here. The blue stones, they're blue granite, are as slippery as can be. You cannot imagine how slippery they are when it's rainy. The really, really badly drunk couple behind me, I think they were in some of the video earlier. They are having a hard time. Still got a ways to go downhill, but at least it's downhill. On the other side of that wall is the site of the first Inca emperor, Manco Capac. You do have to be careful of traffic, but everyone here knows that there are lots of people walking up and down, so there's not much of a chance of an accident. I was right, it was the palace of Manco Capac. Now it's a boutique hotel. I understand there's some ruins up there. I know there's some walls on the back end, and there's some cool stuff on the front end. Plaza San Cristobal up ahead, and I'm going to show you. Up until just a few months ago, you could walk up there. It was a really popular place to sit on the grass below the old Inca walls look out across the Plazoleta in Cusco. It was a great place to hang out. You'd see people up there all the time, especially on Sunday afternoons like today. This is San Cristobal Church and Plaza San Cristobal that overlooks Cusco. Plaza de Armas down below is still jammed with people watching the parade. I can see some of the floats moving by. It's definitely worth seeing, but not in the crowds down there. Not for me anyway. This old colonial street is called Calle Respalosa, or Slippery Street. It's well named because when it rains, it is a nightmare going up and down, especially going down. There are more blue granite, and even the other stones are just worn down by centuries of footsteps. This little bit is Calle Suecia. Heads down the Plaza de Armas, another colonial street. Used to be Inca buildings here, but they've long since been torn down. In fact, the building that used to be here on the right side was torn down because the Spaniard that it was given to angered the people in charge. So they not only, if I remember right, they not only executed him, but they tore down the entire building, which was his home. I don't know if I timed it good or bad, but I think the parade is over. People are filling the middle of the parade route. Somehow I don't think this is what the Incas had in mind for their plaza. That's it for today. I'm going to make my way back home because it surprisingly, especially for June, has gotten overcast and windy and a little bit cold, to be honest. So I hope you enjoyed this. This is how a normal day goes in my life. I make it up as I go. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.